Renaissance, period of intellectual and artistic creativity that spread through Europe from the Italian city-states to Spain and northern Europe in the 1400s. The cartographer, a mapmaker, an astrolabe, a navigation instrument that measured the position of stars, allowing sailors to determine their latitude. Caravel, a three-masted ship developed by the Portuguese that sailed faster and carried more cargo than earlier ships. It also could float in shallow water. What is the How did the development What was the connection between trade, wealth, and exploration? European merchants could make a fortune selling goods like spices and perfumes, silks and precious stones to wealthy Europeans. To meet this demand, they encouraged and participated in trade with China, India, and other Asian lands. What's next? Explain how powerful nations influence exploration. The development of large nation stations in Western Europe helped expand trade and exploration. Strong monarchs in these nations sought ways to increase the trade and make their countries larger, wealthier, and stronger. Three advancements that enabled exploration. Advances in technology paved the way for voyages and exploration. More accurate maps and devices like astrolabes and mechanic compasses improved navigation. Better ships like the Caravan improved speed, cargo space, and navigation in shallow water. Marco Polo, the 13th century Italian merchant and explorer who traveled through and learned much about China. His book about his travels was widely read and inspired Christopher Columbus. Holy Land, the birthplace of Christ, modern-day Israel. Okay. Why did the Renaissance begin in Italy and not in another part of Europe? The Italians enjoyed success through banking and trade with Asia. Their economic success enabled them to pursue interest in ancient Greek and Roman culture. This led to an expansion of cultural pursuits. Okay. Circumnavigate, sail around the world. Why did Portugal take the land in exploring the boundaries of the known world? Portugal did not have a Mediterranean port, used this obstacle as a challenge to seek alternate ways to Asia and develop trade with Africa. What permitted Spain's monarchs, King Ferdinand and Queen Elizabeth, to focus on other goals. With the fall of the last Muslim kingdom in southern Spain, Spain's monarchs, King Ferdinand and Queen Elizabeth, could turn their focus to other goals, like gaining riches from Asian trade, and Portugal was doing. Why did Queen Elizabeth and King Ferdinand decide to finance Columbus's expedition? Because besides wanting to gain riches through trade, Isabella and Ferdinand decided to finance Columbus's voyages because he promised to bring Christianity to any lands he found, and he would bring wealth to Spain. Henry the Navigator, Prince Henry of Portugal, led a new era of exploration, established center for exploration on southwest coast of Portugal, known as Henry the Navigator. Bartholomew Dias, Portuguese, explored the southern tip of Africa in 1487. Vasco da Gama, Portuguese explorers who voyaged around Africa to India in 1498. Christopher Columbus, the Italian explorer who believed he could reach Asia by sailing west, having studied Philemon's work, underestimated distance around Earth, sailed 4 voyages of discovery for Spain in America in the late 1400s and early 1500s. Fernand Magellan, Portuguese explorer sailing for Spain, who attempted to find a sea route to Asia by sailing around. While he did not survive the voyage, some of his crew succeeded in circumnavigating the Earth. It took 3 years. Conquistadors, early Spanish explorers who were granted rights to explore by Spanish monarchs, tribute, items of value, gold, crops, and etc., that a conquered people are forced to pay their conquerors. Pueblos, towns established by Spanish explorers, served as centers for trade. Missions, religious communities that included small towns, church, and farmland. Economida, Spanish explorers' right to demand taxes or labor from Native Americans living on land claimed by Spain, turned the Native Americans into slaves. Why were Spanish rulers able to launch expedition with a little risk? Spanish rulers were able to launch expeditions with a little risk because the conquistadors, who they granted the rights to explore, assumed most, if not all, all of the risks associated with exploration. Howard Cortez and Pizarro able to conquer the might Aztec and Incan emperors with only a few hundred soldiers. The Spaniards had several advantages that enabled them to conquer the Aztecs and Incas. They had powerful weapons, guns, and cannons, which the Aztecs and Incas could not match. They rode horses and used furious dogs to imitate the Aztec and Inca. They appeared like gods to the Aztec and Inca. The disease that they unknowingly carried from Europe wiped out the entire Native American communities. Hernan Cortez, a Spanish explorer who conquered the Aztecs in the early 1500s. Montezuma, Aztec Emperor. Mexico, location of the Aztec Empire. Francisco Pizarro, a Spanish conquistador who conquered the Incas in Peru in the 16th century. Peru, location of the Incan Empire. Okay. The Protestant Reformation. Great religious and historical movements started by Martin Luther's protests and break with the Catholic Church led to incredible changes in Europe, which had previously been unified by its connections to one church, the Catholic Church. Mercantilism, economic theory that the nation's power was based on its wealth, caused Europeans rulers to increase their nation's wealth through a question of gold, silver, and development of trade. Columbian exchange, the exchange of plants, animals, and diseases to and from lands on one side of the Atlantic to the other. From the east, Europe, to the west, the Americas, flowed wheat, livestock, grapes, and diseases. From the west flowed corn, tomatoes, beans, and chocolate. The Northwest Passage, actively sought but never found water passage through the Americas to Asia. What changes resulted from Martin Luther's actions? Martin Luther's actions led to incredible changes in the 16th century Europe and the religious and historical movement known as the Protestant Reformation. His complaints about the Catholic Church ended the Church's position as a unifying influence in Europe. Luther imitated protests against the Church, which had been the main religion of Western Europe. The modern-day countries of Spain, France, Portugal, England, and Germany, his many followers broke away from Catholicism and started their own Christian church. According to mercantilism, what was a nation's power based on? What resulted from mercantilism? According to mercantilism, a nation's power was based on its wealth. This belief led European rulers to seek ways to acquire gold and silver and expand trade. Martin Luther. His complaints about the Catholic Church